Hello, good evening. Welcome to our Wednesday midweek live episode of our What's Up Doc. This is your diet doctora, Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo. For now, it is one of the first of the many episodes that you'll be seeing me, and we will do another episode while I am exercising. So, this is something new because, as you've probably seen in our post this morning, I'm already here in my exercise bike slash desk where my laptop is actually here and I can just do the multitasking since you all know that I'm not into regular exercise before, but right now I think I can do it, especially that we do regular live episodes. So during this live episode, I will be maximizing my time by cycling through this exercise desk. I think I just found the perfect exercise desk for me. So even if I wear something so formal, I can just remove my footwear and I can easily jump into this bike and I can already have my day's cardio workout. So isn't that amazing? So for today, our episode is again a live Q&A. So since we will be quite busy for the whole month and I may not be able to attend to all of your queries and questions in our pages, in our groups such as Life Without Rice and Low Carb Feasting and Fasting Community, then I may be able to answer your queries if you have any regarding low carb nutrition, fasting, and even other kinds of nutrition. So, if, say, for example, you're into high carb diet or Mediterranean or paleo or high protein diet, whatever diet you may be, and if you have any questions regarding whatsoever when it comes to nutrition, this is a perfect time for you to ask them, and I'll do my best to answer them. So, hello, Angela, Alvarez Noel, Lenalia Sagar, Gerard Orozco, Robert Yanguas. Thank you so much from KSA, Kauri, Pau Garinganao, Alkens, Lenalia, hello, Annabelle, of course, magandang gabi. Elizabeth Escobar, yes, almost on time. Yes, I think this time I'm only late by about 5 minutes. So, good evening, Mayo. Watching from Panabo City, Davao del Norte. I've never been to Mindanao actually. Those are one of my supposedly go-to lists. Kaya lang pandemic happened, but it's okay. At least our advocacy reached Mindanao. It actually reached many places that even us have never been into. So mayong hapon from Davao del Norte, LA Marquez Kipot. Well done. Yes, thank you so much. And thank you also for joining our masterclass for all of our enrollees, our batch one of low carb nutrition and fasting masterclass. Rosemary Villa, watcher from Milan, Italy. Thank you po. I'm so amazed and I'm so happy with our enrollees. Actually, we have doctors, nutritionists, dietitians, yes, nurses, even medical technologists who are now part of our LCF masterclass. So after this comes May 1, we can really see a possibility of having a network of coaches and wellness that can actually help you with your journey. So as a reminder, of course, and as a disclaimer, so we are actually not against traditional medicine. In fact, we are pro medicine. It's just that we are maximizing what's been downgraded, what's been underestimated when it comes to management. So by standard, all of those guidelines, even if they're giving you medicine, number one rule actually is lifestyle modification. It's just that for the longest time, lifestyle modification was never emphasized or was really never broken down into details. So this time, we are seeing it working, especially with the use of low carb nutrition. And now, the one of the oldest ways to heal, no? Even the father of ancient medicine, who is Hippocrates. So we can see that he's been fasting, he's been advocating fasting for so long. So this time we are maximizing those very natural way to do it and those that can be done even by individuals. So not just extended fasting, okay? Extended fasting are reserved for those who are already knowledgeable, and of course, as much as possible, if it's under the supervision of a medical practitioner. But day to day intermittent fasting, like, say, for example, eating your meals in a 6 to 8 hour window. So that's actually can do so much goodness already when it comes to your health. So Rachel Pagaduan from Quezon City, Mel Garcia, Sally Sagin. Thank you so much from Ireland. Wow. We have a lot of friends in Ireland. Also, hello to our one of our admins in low carb nutrition, low carb feasting and fasting community and life without rice, Earl Stanley. So he's one of our amazing admin who can answer so many things that we are actually asking about, especially on the scientific side. He's quite an amazing part of the team. So G. De Guzman, good evening. O.J. Sheras, good evening. Rowena, good afternoon. Thank you so much. Oh, nakapag-ayos ng konti. So Rajan Dulfo from QC. Dina BB from, yes, thank you so much. Angelita Cariaga, Agno, good evening po. Chloe, on the way home. Wow, cycling, amazing. So Bautista Lou Rose from Dubai. I love Dubai. They said Dubai is like the Disneyland for adults. And I'm so happy I was able to visit Dubai before pandemic happened. So Rain Bautista, hello. Doc P. Yes, I'm really moving. My feet is moving. I think I'm a little partly losing my breath, but so far so good. It's just so shows that I'm not really into exercising yet, but don't worry. In due time, our body can adapt so well. I am looking into really adapting so well. So I'm just slowing my pace. I'm not in a hurry. And anyway, what I actually am aiming is not really for muscle bulking. It's just more on cardio workout. So exercising my heart, because with when you move fast, really, you are activating actually the fast muscle switch. So when we talk about exercise, there are two kinds of muscles. We thought there's just one muscles, that if you do it, this muscle, all of your muscle groups are affected. But actually, there's two kinds of muscle groups: the slow twitch and a fast twitch. So with slow twitch muscle, those are actually muscles that are used when your movements are not really fast. So say, for example, just normal walking or even lying down, or this very, very slow pace of cycling. So this slow pace of muscle groups are the ones that we use for marathon, for long walks. And it can use, especially if you're fueling on ketones, you can actually benefit more from that, because that kind of muscles can use those ketones because it is rich in mitochondria. So mitochondria is the powerhouses of our cells. So those mitochondria can process ketones using oxygen, whereas the fast muscle twitch, so the ones that you do from HIIT and sprinting, so those are white muscle twitches or type 2 fibers. So those muscles are actually using glucose primarily for energy. So since I'm into low carb and I don't have much glucose in my body except for the ones that's needed in my brain, that's needed by my red blood cells, I'm sure I don't have so much of that yet. And I'm not into the process of, since I'm new to exercise, so I'm making sure that what my body is currently needing for my muscles are the ones that can use the ketones that are already in my body. So that's why my pace is actually very slow. And my purpose is not really on muscle bulking, but more on cardio workout, because our heart, whenever we exercise, the calories that we burn is not just directly from the muscles in our legs, in our butt, in our upper arms, but it's also because of the heart beating. So our heart can actually use ketones or fatty acids for energy, and that's what I want, and that's what I am really looking into. And I really don't ever imagine myself looking so hard and so like very, very muscular. So I'm not looking into that. I'm okay to be looking soft and no edge, and all the soft parts and just the curves and the smooth edges with nothing pointed or hard looking. So this is why I'm exercising, mostly to increase my heart and lung tolerance. So hello, Carolyn. Hello, Sally. Best for 50-year-old. What is best for 50-year-old? Best in what? So when it comes to nutrition, the basic. You don't need to really look into something more complicated. Just remove the processed foods, just remove the sweets, and just enjoy the natural foods. Once you really get used to the taste of natural foods, you really know exactly when one food is full of junk, is full of sugar, preservatives, and just flour and chemicals that are mimicking the taste of real milk, real cheese, real meat. So when you're used to the real thing, you'll easily recognize what's processed food. So hello, Sir John Paul Titik of Tito J. So Tito J is one of the earlier founders of many groups in keto groups. I think One Keto Society. And also, if you are in Manila, you can order from Tito J store. They have a lot of yummy goodies. I was able to eat those, and actually, I've been ordering from him if I want to send something for my loved ones who are in Manila. He's very, very reliable, and his goodies are also so good. Okay, and you can see, I think that's the only cream cheese. No, garlic Korean garlic cream cheese that is low carb, that if it looks like this, the cheese inside it's like this. So it's really, really big. So I'm sure it's yummy. So Neil Julie, hello from Isolate Room. Okay, be well. Florida. Merlin, day 21 on our LCAF. Yay! So that's day 21. So by history or by so many books, they say that a certain behavior can become a habit can become incorporated in your day to day if you continue to do that for straight days, for 21 days or 21 times. So I'm so glad you already reached your 21. I hope you will sustain it and you will be on your way to continuously applying low carb nutrition and fasting, maybe extended fasting or intermittent fasting in the long run. So, hello, Shi Cabrera. Is canola oil not good? Yes, I can easily say it bluntly. It's not really good. We are lucky that we are living in the Philippines, and I think we should really maximize the benefits that we have here. That we are so abundant with coconut oil that it's such a waste if we don't maximize that. So coconut oil is good for our economy, it's good for our partners, and most importantly, it's good for our health. So Mary B. Shanko, Borowski, and Carolinian, Arian de la Rosa Aniban from Nueva Ecija. Aljon Zapate, I hope you're doing well with your IF and your everything else. Chris Alipio Dispo, Arian, shout out po Doc Arian de la Rosa Aniban. Hello, of course, to you. Rap Rap MJ, good evening. I hope you're doing well. Always stay positive para happy lang tayo always. Okay? Jing Armin, hi Doc, watching from Germany. Hello, I also have an aunt who is currently in Germany, Maiga, and of course all of my cousins there. Sometimes I forgot. I think they're my nephews already because they're so young, but if I can remember it, they're already my cousins and my aunt actually, but she's one of the youngest in their siblings with my dad. We feel like she's just our cousin, and because she's so cool as well. So thank you so much. Hello, Eric Rojo. Oh, relatives yan. Rowena Cantre. Inaabangan ko talaga ang araw na to. Hope mabasa mo message ko. What message po? Let me read it if you have. So, Neil Julie, Doc, pwede po ba mag-low carb kahit positive ako? Positive when it comes to COVID. So the best thing that you can do is to make sure that your immune system is really, really doing well. So what other way to do that but to limit the foods that are making it inflammatory in the first place? So what are one of the most inflammatory foods? Number one is sugar. So if you can't do real strict low carb, at least do away or make sure that you're not eating as much as sweets and bad oils that can make your progress more worse, or if not asymptomatic. If you're asymptomatic, I hope you stay that way. MG, good afternoon. Honey Step from Hong Kong. Lucille Tacho Abunales from Bislig City. Where's Bislig City? Marvi, hello. Nora Benjamin from Istanbul. Wow, Filipinos are all over the world. And we have Darlene. The Asis from Bacolod City. Hi! Baka magkita tayo around here. So, Alvarez Noel, hi, are you in the office? No, I'm actually in our house. So, I am just here. If you read my post a while ago, I am doing my live from this day, starting today, while I am cycling because I always believe in exercise. It's just that I cannot force myself to do it really strictly. The most that I did, I think, with the longest routine that is regular is a yoga that is only 20 minutes. But more than that, I cannot sustain because I really am looking into ways that I can maximize it. So, yes, it's good for my well being, but something is not enough. So, I used to think I'd rather really do something like physically active so that it will have another purpose, not just on my health, not just on my body. So now I am maximizing my time while I'm answering your Q&A and having this session. I am also still increasing my exercise capacity. So that is why even if I'm cycling slow, but I'm also talking, if you can try that, you can see for yourself if it's that easy. Okay. So Natasha Inso San Diego from Valenzuela, Edison Escovilla from TDI Plant. You are really biking. Yes, I really am biking. And it's still about 20 minutes since I started. And I will take a pause in a while if ever I will really lose my breath. Okay, so you can see me. You can see me really progress if I'm this right now. So let's see. Maybe in the following weeks, I can already take up to an hour without really losing my breath. But let's see if I can sustain this. So, Anna Marie, will ketosis lead to autophagy? So before autophagy kicks in, usually you will undergo ketosis because by definition, by most of the studies, ketosis can happen starting around 18 hours, and it can stabilize or max out starting 24 hours, 24 to 48 hours of fasting. While autophagy will start by 24 hours because that's the time that your body will actually start to scavenge or start to look into certain food products that are stocked in our body that can actually be reused, that can actually be recycled and can be used to sustain our needs. So those mostly are what we call as misfolded proteins. So everything in our body are actually made of protein. So of course, some are made of, say, for example, fats. Our skin are made of fats, but actually our nails, our our albumins, our eyes, our hairs, so many, the main building block of our physical body is protein. So sometimes when we've been into high carb nutrition for so long, and there's a lot of insulin also, so our body tends to build those unnecessary proteins. So fasting will actually try to activate and use that kind of misfolded proteins, break it down into its component parts, which are amino acids. And those amino acids can be used in so many things. Glucogenic amino acids can be used as glucose if we need those. Okay, and it can even be used as certain parts of our body, of our DNA, if it needs repair. So autophagy is that process. It's the process of recycling the unnecessary parts, unfunctional parts of our body, and by doing so, it also cleanses our body. It cleanses our system, and it makes our body more functional than ever. So isn't it amazing? So Merlin Sardilia del Rosario, hello. Harun Demaran Singh, hello, Doctor. Good evening. Good evening to you too, Doctor. I'm so happy you're able to watch. I'm not sure if it's your first time to watch, but anyhow, I'm happy that you're watching. Emma Christopher, good evening. Agnes Marie Cabrera Monte, is OMAD good for those who are TTC? What's TTC? Can you specify? I'm not familiar with that acronym, kindly, so that I can answer if OMAD is really good for TTC. So Joy Gonzalez, some tips for maintaining weight. Thank you so much. So maintaining weight, look at your current schedule, intermittent fasting schedule, and also your food timing and what kind of foods that you're eating. If you think you're still losing with the current window you have, so you can shorten it a little. So for example, if you've been fasting for 16 hours, so maybe you can try to do 15 hours. And if you're fasting for, say, for example, 18 hours, you can try to lower it to 16 hours, okay? And see how it goes, okay? Sheila Marie Salvador Passion. Hi, Doc, from Ilocos Norte. Henrik Maxian Villaret. I'm doing fasting and low carb, then making myself low from sugar. That's good. I'm vaping. The vape juice that I have is sweet. Is vaping for those who are doing fasting and low carb. Sana mapansin. Henrik, I'm so sorry. Not because I'm anti-smoking, but in general, vaping is really not good in general for our body, just like smoking. But I also agree that vaping is of lesser evil than smoking. So just like sugar is really not good for the body. And say, for example, what do we have? Oatmeals. So oatmeal is not as bad as sugar, except of course for the gluten part, but it's still bad for our body. So when you say vaping, low carb, what I can answer you, fasting and low carb is good. And vaping is not good for anybody. But if you are vaping and if you are doing high carb, then you are better off vaping and doing low carb and intermittent fasting. But since vaping is actually not really beneficial in any way, so you can see that maybe if your goal is, say, for example, something about weight or something about health, so your progress might not be that good or that fast. So it's a trade-off. So as we always say, we are pro-health, but more importantly, we are pro-choice. So the choice is yours. As long as you make that decision informed and it's really conscious that nobody really forced you to do it. So Gillian Evangelista, how about palm oil? Is it good? So palm oil, compared to canola, it's better because palm oil, at least it's natural. The problem with palm oil, it's purely made of omega-6. And omega-6, although essential, but it is usually embedded in so many kinds of fats in our food, just like in all the nuts, even in chicken skin, as what one other doctor, I think, was it Doc Mark? I'm not sure, who posted it, that it can really be toxic. It can be inflammatory. So I say, if ever you use palm oil for cooking, you make sure that you really drain it or you put tissue in it to make sure that it's not as high when it comes to content. Okay, so because since we can easily overtake that, over consume that, so better to make sure to minimize it as much as possible. And also what we can do, the good thing, if the research has it that our consumption of omega-6 by nature, it should be about equal with omega-3. So that's why I usually advise in general that if you really consume a fatty meal, especially the not so healthy kind of fatty meal like omega-6, you are better off taking omega-3 together with it. So you can have fish oil and other forms of omega-3. Okay? Mileta Saban, hello. Neil Julie, low carb, kahit positive daw ako sa COVID 2 times, na ako nag-positive, so still the same. I hope you are doing well. And COVID, actually, for me, it's just like any flu. If you haven't been positive, sooner or later, maybe all of us will really get infected. So we'd rather make sure that our immune system is really good. So no better way to do it but to strengthen our immune system through, for me, low carb nutrition or low overall consumption of so many things with adequate intake of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and electrolytes, plus intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting can really do so much wonder. So Mary Chris Sobiate from Tarlac, Girly Canonian Newman, hey docs, it's okay lang ba mag-water therapy for 1 week? So it's up to you. I really personally don't recommend anybody doing extended fasting unless it is really medically indicated and medically supervised. So I know, I understand that a lot of you know me as doing extended fasting, but for the record, I'm not really encouraging anybody to do it, especially if there's no real indication. But if you decide to do so, You do it at your own risk, and you make sure that you prepared mentally, physically, and of course, the fasting essentials, which are electrolytes. And of course, the most important part of all, the refeeding, how you break your fast. Because there's actually almost no record of people really dying from fasting, but they can really endanger their lives if they break it improperly rather, if they break it the wrong way, because refeeding syndrome can be really dangerous, can be life threatening. So you have to make sure that when you do your refeed, the moment you break your fast, it's really as slow as possible, and we have process for that, and something that it should be guided, or at least be very, very knowledgeable about it. Okay, Rowena Cantre, what's the best diet for beginners? So we have actually a YouTube channel for that. I hope you can watch it. So it's fasting and low carb for beginners. Okay. Camille Mara Briguera from the Gupan Pangasinan. Mina de la Cruz, hello. From Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. Sige, welcome, Neil Julie. Sarah Pitts from Bagadian. Janine Tan Capuno, hello. Enala Mel, watching from Israel. So we are really all over the world. International viewers, so happy. So Hazy Alba from Santiago Isabela. Hi all. Thank you, my dearest Alvin, my brother Alvin Chuarajo, also our clinic manager. So we already have our food list. So if for those of you who want to know what's the best food, so usually we made a food list. It's divided into three. We have safe, caution, and danger list. So mind you that it's not the usual safe list, it's not the usual caution list that you usually see in many low carb and keto groups, because yes, I can say and understand that Life Without Rice and LCFF community is actually starting to like quite become rigid or strict, but understand that what we offer, actually what we really advocate, is like the best and safest way to do it. It's not like we are not saying that this is what you should really do, but if you want inspiration for you to really be well when it comes to have a healthy eating, so this is like the ideal one. But of course we understand life happens, birthday happens, fiesta happens. So a lot of celebrations can go on. And from time to time, you can really eat those high carb if you really want to. We just want to make sure that it's a conscious decision in your part, and as much as possible, that if we look back the week that passed, the month that passed, we can say that we've been eating right most of the time. And those cheat days or those planned indulgence are days that are exemption rather than the rule. Okay? So that also we won't jeopardize whatever progress we already made. Okay, so Meranhela Sekub, watching from South Africa. Wow! Merdic Gamboa, hi Doc, almost 4 years na po akong LC. Wow, that's good. January po, ang naging food ko sa office is mostly high carbs. Why? Napansin ko lang po after kong bumalik ng LC, naging foamy ang ihi ko. I cannot, sorry, I think na tabunan. Foamy ihi, you better have it checked in urinalysis, okay? So that you can see. Maybe you're just going into ketosis again, especially that you've been high carb. So you broke your state of being into ketosis. So right now, your body is making more ketones, or better have your full blood panel to make sure that your kidney didn't get damaged. So I'm not really scaring you, but better safe than sorry. So Karing Molina Ramos, Valenzuela City, Mikael Dapon from KSA Riyadh. Hello, marami na tayong from KSA. Also, Zins Mundala. Pearl Marie, is Sincamas okay? Sincamas is okay as long as you don't consume more than 250 milligrams or 1/4 kilo. So it's among all root crops. I think Sincamas is one of those who have lowest net carbohydrate content. So for our new listeners in here, net carbohydrates is the amount of carbohydrates that is translatable into blood glucose, okay? So whenever we say low carb, we're actually saying not just low carb in general, low carb as in low in net carbs, because carbohydrates can also be fibers, okay? And those fibers are actually not easily converted into glucose. So we don't consume them, but it's being consumed and processed by the our gastrointestinal, our intestines, good bacteria for them to create the necessary good fats in our system. They can help us with our bowel movement. So we only consider those carbohydrates mostly coming from sugar, fructose, and also starch. Okay, so those are convertible to glucose in our blood. So what's important is that your overall net carb intake is low. Okay, watching from Tondo, Marites, watching from Davao City, Liza Girl, Tina De La Rosa from Lucena, good evening, Sarah Pitts. Okay lang po. Ang keto for TTC? I don't know what's TTC. Please enlighten me. What's TTC? Mel A. and Cart, Dublin, Ireland. Marami na talagang taga-Ireland. I have a good friend who's also Irish. Okay, so Cora Franco, Tita, be well. Thank you so much. You're welcome always. I'll enjoy MC. Hello po. How, Doc? Hi, Doc. How long can I consume ACV every morning and also lemon ginger boiled in water? So those are actually low carb, low zero calorie. So you can, especially ACV, you can consume them while eating or while fasting. Okay, that's safe. But lemon, especially if squeezed, it's better taken while you are already on your eating window, because even if say for example a lemon will have very low calorie, but it will still have calorie. And if you want to maximize the benefits of fasting and low carb, we really suggest you do it as safe as possible, as clean as possible. So just pure water and electrolytes. Okay, so hello Mariani, and of course Corazon. Pwede po gamitin turmeric powder? Sure, I love turmeric, but with lemon. I cannot take turmeric alone. I'm so sorry. So, Mufi, Offie, Laila Mangdong. Is OMAD good for breastfeeding mom? So it will be up to you. So we cannot really say what is best for someone that's breastfeeding, because it will be different from person to person. Just know that you can fast if you feel like you can fast, but don't ever force yourself to fast. What I usually tell my patient is that you can fast as long as you feel okay with it. But if you won't fast, just also do not make breastfeeding as an excuse to eat high carbs, to eat junks, or to eat very late night, or to eat as frequent as every 2 to 3 hours, like the baby you're feeding. You are capable of more than that. Okay. So Richelle, pag na-overeat po ba ang singkamas, nakakataas po ng blood sugar? Biglang spike po kasi ng blood sugar, habig ko. Yun lang kasi kinain niya kaninang umaga. LC for 5 months. So, how much? Quantity still matters, okay? So, how much singkamas did he took? So, Cecil C, hello, my husband had been on LC for 4 months. Everything was well until recently. Medyo mataas pong BP, almost 1 week na po. Bakit po kaya? Most common reason is just electrolytes. So make sure he is taking electrolytes. That's why I really don't want people, especially with those with diagnosed illness already and are already taking medications, just doing low carb without supervision, especially of a physician that is practicing or is knowledgeable with low carb, because certain preparations is needed, like electrolytes. Those should be monitored. And if they some people are really very courageous in just completely stopping all of their medicines after being so dependent with medicines for years, and sometimes others in a decade of dependent on that medicine, and then suddenly decided to get off the medications without proper advice. So it shouldn't really be done, because there are medicines that are prone to have a rebound effect. So say for example, for blood pressure, all of your blood vessels have been so relaxed for so long because of medicine, and if you suddenly remove that, it can suddenly collapse or be constricted. So you're actually risking yourself for a sudden and dangerous spike in your blood pressure. So that can happen in many medicines. That's why it is advisable to really improve by making sure that you are guided by your doctor. So you have me, you have Doc Fee Atensio, you also have Doc Suzette. And I think we also have a functional medicine practitioner. So Dr. Catherine Oscal, she is also a good friend, and Dr. Rabanda. And here in Cadiz City, we also have Doc Gail. So there's actually a number of us. In Diet Doctor page, I think there's also one doctor, a male doctor, but we haven't been introduced and we haven't gotten in touch. But after this LCF masterclass, we are actually looking into making a network of doctors who are into practicing low carb nutrition as part of our standard practice. So it's not like we are doing alternative medicine, but we are actually just maximizing medicine, traditional medicine, and of course, lifestyle modification using low carb and therapeutic fasting that is applicable to whoever it is we feel like it is needed. Jinka Rose TTC is trying to conceive. Oh, okay. Thank you so much for that. So trying to conceive, root cause again. Why can't you conceive in the first place? So the usual answer, if for the female, is usually related to an ovarian cycle problem that is highly sensitive to too much insulin in the body. So the most common would be PCOS or polycystic ovarian syndrome. And for males, it can actually have a sexual dysfunction coming from still inflammation from insulin and also even decreased sperm count or decreased healthy sperm count. So you can have billions of sperm, but the ones viable are we can never really say. So yes, correcting first the health of the parent who's trying to conceive is the best answer for that. And how to do it, it will be different from person to person, but as again, we advocate low carb nutrition and at least intermittent fasting, even just as little as 12 hours, 14 hours, whatever one can handle, because we believe that by evolution, that's really how our body is used to. So Rowena Cantle, what diet can you suggest for me, because I have thyroid and kidney nodules? So before I answer that, what is your current diet in the first place, or your diet before you actually was diagnosed with that? Because as what we can actually see, those who have thyroid problems are those people who have been on restrictive diet for so long. And when I say restrictive, it's not just the usual diet, but usually restrictive of essential nutrients. So the low fat diet, the low salt diet is actually very, very restrictive because you are doing away sodium and even iodine, which is very essential for thyroid function, and also low fat, low red meat, no red meat diet, because B vitamins is very essential, especially our thyroid and everything in our body. So what's aside from not consuming enough of the essential foods, when you go into that kind of diet, it's also almost synonymous with the unspoken equivalent, which is a high carb diet. And what happens with a high carb diet? Your body is actually inducing your body to be on anabolic state. Anabolic is building up state, not functioning, not removing it or not destroying it, as in the form of burning fats. So when it's an anabolic phase, your body wants to build something. But when you have insulin that's building something, but you don't get enough nutrients and vitamins and minerals and electrolytes, you're actually making big empty shells that are no longer functional, and that can lead to tumor formation, cystic formation, and yes, it can damage any part of our body. So it will depend from person to person, because each person will somewhat have a different genetic makeup. So some people are prone to have damage. So like you, on your thyroid and in your kidneys, others in their ovaries, other for men, it's in their prostate, others in their breast, others in their pancreas, and it can be actually anywhere. So before I answer what's best for you, try to remember first, what diet were you at when you were prior to your diagnosis of thyroid and kidney problems, and maybe there's a problem in there that we can actually try to improve. But for specific medical concerns, a proper consultation is advised. Know that this Q&A episode is mainly for educational purposes, and this does not make us as having a doctor and patient relationship. Doctor-patient relationship, it should be on a proper consultation venue. Okay? So Rajan Dulfo Balbaboko. Doc, I am recently put in metformin. Need to be taken twice a day with meal. Take them after breakfast and with Lucerna for dinner as meal replacement. So meaning you're no longer eating actual dinner. So I did fasting before. Oh, hindi ko na makita na sa pawan na. Sana kaya yun? Can you repeat your question again? Hi, Doc. I'm fasting low carb 8 months. I just want to ask if I can take potassium or potassium. So I will not know. Usually, it will depend on your food intake. So if you're actually taking foods that are high in potassium, so you don't need to take potassium. Everybody needs potassium, but as to where you get that, it will be up to you. You can eat your potassium or you can take it in tablet form, but it should be on the right amount because high potassium can also be dangerous if it's too high, although it's very hard to overdose potassium. So unless you already have kidney problems. So Xavier de Souza, thank you for watching. Doc, you burned your face with lots of sun with vitamin D. Hope you feel better soon. No, that's just makeup. Don't worry, Xavier. Inday Sabalitaw. Hello, Doc. I have plenty of fresh avocados here. Wow, can you give me? I put each half in separate plastic containers for future use. Is this okay? Sure, that's okay. Hello, Daniela Luis from Kuwait. And hello, Blakey Week. Hello, Doc, watching from England. I'm always looking forward for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's so nice. I'm on my 15th day of LCIF. Congratulations. Motivated by watching your videos and your LC fasting community. And don't refer it as my LC fasting community. It's our low carb fasting community. It's actually for us, for all of us. You can own it. You can add your friends and family there. It's ours. Okay. Joshua Sipin, is it still advisable for a diabetic with renal disease and liver moderate fibrosis to do low carb? In the first place, it's the high carb that damaged that. So doing low carb, if you can still prevent it from going into late stage, end stage, if you want to preserve whatever that can still be preserved, yes, you can do low carb. I'm not promising that low carb can reverse that or really change your course or whatever. But what low carb can do is actually try to preserve or at least not further go into an even more damage. Okay? So Roxanne de los Santos, hello, present. Good evening. Thank you so much, Connie Reyes. Rosy cheeks na ka. Oh, kita mong good ko sa akong makeup ganina na ay pamuwa-muwa ba. So Grace Steadfast from USA, hello. Ainalam Mel, watching from Israel, ask ko lang po, may endometriosis po ako. Ano po ba ang dapat ko lagi kainin to make less inflammation? Instead of thinking what you can eat, just make sure you are avoiding the ones in our danger list. So danger list would be all the sweets, all the sugars, all the baked and processed goodies. If you see foods that are already packed in plastics, that's usually processed. So as much as possible, avoid that. Try to focus more on real foods, vegetables, greens, and all the meat. So contrary to most dietary advice, actually it's okay for me to eat meat. I don't find anything wrong with eating fish, chicken, beef, even pork, seafoods. You can eat all that. Those are real food. Just focus on that and try to avoid the processed ones, okay? Because inflammation comes from the unnatural sources of food. Hello, Sonia Tipo. Good evening. Chepara Disquan. Hello. Josh Wang Hope, watching from Cebu with my family. Mayong gabi sa tanang pamilya, nagatanaw diha sa Cebu. Cora Javier, watching from Binalbagan. Mayong gabi sa tanan niya taga Binalbagan. Hello. Ang Domingo from Japan. I don't know how to do Japanese, so maybe Chloe can help me. Hello, Inday Jean Garutay. Sana all. Hi, Park Shen. Good evening to Mindanao friends. Hi, Park Shen. And of course, where else? Dato Adamas. Good evening, Doc. Can a type 2 diabetic like me can benefit from a religious 6 and 8 IF? Of course, it's up to you and how you will be able to handle it. But make sure you are under a supervision of a medical doctor before you start, because certain adjustment might be made if you're already taking medications. Because if you're doing it without proper looking into your medications, you're actually risking yourself with hypoglycemia, a dangerous low level of glucose. Okay, so we have to make sure that doesn't happen, and know that hypoglycemia only happens for those taking medications. But for those who doesn't take any medications to lower the blood glucose, our body will protect itself. It will not go into hypoglycemia. So I think this is already one of the many live episodes that feels like so long. Usually it feels fast, but I think because I'm doing two tasks at once, talking and cycling here, so it feels so long, but it's okay as long as it's with you. So Lala Esteban Ariel, good evening from Cogeo and Antipolo. Is it okay to do LCIF on a daily basis? We do it on a daily basis, on a 14 hours, sometimes 20 hours. Pinakamahaba is and pre-diabetic, but I lose weight doing LCIF from 83 to 77 to 70 now. That's so good. So way to go. Goal is 50 kilograms. I'm 43 na po. That's good, and I'm proud of your progress. Okay, so you continue what you do as long as you don't feel weak, you don't feel like you're lacking energy, you don't have brain fog, you can think well, you can focus well, you feel like having a lot of energy, you're sleeping well. So those are indications that you're okay. But if there's some things that doesn't feel good, you're having palpitations, you're having problems sleeping, you're having fluctuations in your blood pressure, also you cannot concentrate. So those are indications that something might not be right. So a consultation is necessary for that. Ayla Nap, hello from Cebu City. Jennifer Baharo Caretas, hi doc, I'm on Low-Carb for 10 days. Wow, congratulations reaching 10 days, but 3 meals a day, it's okay. Who is diabetic, ilang percent po dapat ang fats to take? 70% po ba in every meal? So, eating so much fats is already keto. So, that's already a very strict low carb. So, make sure that your sugar is in check. Because if you're diabetic and your sugar is not in check, you're actually risking yourself of diabetic ketoacidosis. So, that is an abnormally elevated sugar, and together with an abnormally elevated ketones, and that can lead to an acidic state in our blood, and that is diabetic ketoacidosis. So you make sure you go slowly, and you always monitor your blood sugar. Make sure it's not spiking. Okay. So yes, you don't need to do fasting and low carb at once. So especially if you're doing it on your own. So take your time, especially if you've been diabetic for so long. So don't ever rush, okay? As long as you're on that right mindset, as long as it's what you're doing is more sustainable. So slow baby steps, but longer period or something that you can sustain is always better than jumping right then and there, but cannot sustain it. Like after 10 days, you already stop. So don't force yourself and don't be pressured from other people's journey, because your journey is your own and you can benefit from that. So gray stats fad, is quinoa okay in replacement of rice during eating time frame? So quinoa is still grains, although I think it's about half of the net carbs, or about 60 to 70% of the net carbs of rice. Okay, so you can take that. The problem with people taking quinoa, because they think that it's way better than rice, they actually consume them even more than they consume rice. So it's like that effect, that bias, that they thought it's safe, so they tend to overconsume it. So if you consume it, you make sure that it's still within the 20-gram allowance, because it's still grains. And if you still have some things in your body that still needs healing, it's always safe to stay on the safe list. So we have the food list. The safe list is our ideal one if you still want to maximize your healing. But if you're already at your goal weight, at your goal health, then you can slowly incorporate, because those grains, quinoa, rice, fruits, and even root crops are not really like a no-no forever. So if you're already at the top of your health, you can actually take them. You just make sure that you are eating them consciously, mindfully, so that you know and you can listen more to your body, how your body reacts to it. Okay. Anna Sue, hi doc, good evening. Lothario, Kundalini, you're looking low carb good. No question here. Thank you so much. Toy Bots, hi doc. I am rheumatoid arthritis patient, lost 10 kilos, but I still feel pain in my joints. So thank from Munich. Wow. So with arthritis, so it can have other effects. So I want you to look into food lists that are under FODMAP. So FODMAP, because FODMAP, and most importantly, oxalates. So foods that are rich in oxalates. So there are a lot of plant-based foods that are considered low carb that are actually safe, ideally to many, because it contains low level of sugar. But for those who are already with inflammatory state, especially on the joints, they can have sensitivity to oxalates. So oxalates are compounds found in almost all plants actually. The bitter the plants, the higher the oxalate content. And the more fibrous the plants, the higher the oxalate content. So like spinach, also even cabbage, certain nuts, most nuts actually, and also cacao, cocoa. So those are very high in oxalates. So maybe if you are already healing your rheumatoid arthritis, it is a possibility that some of those oxalate crystals are actually forming there or left there. So it takes a while before that is cleansed. Make sure you are well hydrated, and you make sure you are having enough electrolytes to help your body cleanse those, and try to avoid those foods high in oxalates. Okay, OXALATES. Try to search on that. Charmaine Yusongpo, safe po ba? Nestle all-purpose cream for my coffee consumption 2 to 3 times a day. So this is where we usually differ from other guidelines when it comes to low carb. Because yes, that is low carb. That is almost like 1 gram, less than 1 gram per tablespoon. So there's not much sugar in insulin effect. But understand that for generally most people, actually they just don't know it, that a lot are actually quite sensitive to cheese and dairies more than they want to admit. It can be inflammatory. Okay, so because by nature supposedly we are not really consuming much of those on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so if you can limit them, the better. That's why those Nestle cream, all-purpose cream, or whatever creamers and everything that is related to cheese and dairies are under our caution list and not really on our safe list. So you may take, of course, but take it in caution. And also, one thing about coffee, if you can take it like at least 8 to 9 hours before your bedtime to make sure that you don't ruin your circadian rhythm. Okay, Celia Pataga, good evening. Island Nap. Hi, Doc. Is exercise so essential if I'm still 2 months in LCIF? It's up to you. If you don't have much weight to lose, and if you're already used to low carb and IF, then you can slowly incorporate exercise. So I've been fasting for more than 2 years now, and also into low carb for more than 2 years now. I think, let's maybe around 10% of those time I really had some physical activity, but not really that continuous. And so far, I'm just doing it now. So I hope I can continue this. Let's see. We are open to possibilities. Okay? Mina de la Cruz, okay lang po ba i-consume ang turmeric lemon juice araw-araw? Refreshing po kasi. Nagustuhan namin yung pinost nyo. Yes, actually, may bias, but yes, you can take them. But safest way to take them is during your feasting or eating window. When you take them on your like fasting window, make sure it's closer to your eating window. And if you can use lemon that are 0-calorie lemon, so the natural lemon extract, but not the fresh lemon. But if you do use the fresh lemon, then you're better taking it during your eating window, because that is already containing some calories. Okay, so G Morales Villapando, watching from Muntinlupa City. Thoughts on MCT oil, Hazy Alba? MCT oil is so good. It's actually best to take as a supplement, especially for those who are looking into absorbing more oil, especially for those who have absorption problems. Say, for example, those who are already already underwent cholecystectomy or removal of gallbladder. So MCT oil actually can be absorbed by our intestines even without the help of bile. So MCT oil is amazing. MCT oil, it can be converted into ketones easily. Meaning it will not be stored as fats, it will not be stored as a floating LDL or HDL or triglycerides, but it can be readily be converted in as ketones, especially when you're already into ketosis. There's no insulin to make its use limited. So MCT oil is good, but if you are looking into using your own fats as energy, you don't need so much MCT oil. Yes, you may need it to start to bridge the gap from being glucose dependent going to ketones dependent, so that can ease the gap. But if you are looking into using your own fuel as ketone, so you are better off using your own. You don't need that much. But if you're already on maintenance phase, so you can take your, and if, especially for those people who are afraid of eating fatty meals. So I said, it's okay if you don't eat fats, if you don't want butter, if you don't want pork fats, if you don't want steak, that's okay. But at least you take the essential oils. So you can take omega-3, you can take coconut oil, you can take extra virgin oil. So those are one of the safest oils that you can take. At least you get the essential ones, okay? So Mary B. Shanko, can I take contraceptive pills during the eating window? Of course. It's better to take them during your eating window so that it won't break your fast. As long as what's important is you take them same time every day. So, hi Belen. Good evening. Ilang grams po dapat kainin sa peras po? I think I made a post about that. I cannot memorize it all since I don't want to memorize it all because I don't want to keep on thinking about them and craving for them and eating them. But I made a post about that. You can look at the page, and I did make a post about my favorite mango, Indian mango, a local one found in the Philippines. So you can check on that, and I posted there a link about the previous post I've had last year about the current amount of net carbs per fruit. Okay, so Moyakni MV, good evening. And also Sharon Chugas Ilak, what are good examples electrolytes drinks that can be bought in the market? Electrolyte drinks, you can have, I don't want to be biased into any of those, but definitely if it's sweetened, even if it's sugar-free, that's a no-no. So that's why you'd rather make your own electrolyte drink, okay? So the safest is the one that you make. Okay? Hello, Doc. Paano po mag-low carb diet? I have kidney stones. Di po ba bawal ang red meat and egg? In the first place, what do you think gave you kidney stones? Do you think it's just the red meat? Actually, no. There are people doing low carb who have high uric acid, but they don't have any kidney problems because there's no signal to produce kidney stones, to form urate crystals. And those are actually related to insulin, fructose, and sugar. Okay, so for those with kidney stones, it's better to address that first. Have it removed. You can have lithotripsy. You can have an open operation for it, whatever is indicated, and you can stay low carb as well to make sure that you don't get complications. And it's now 7 o'clock and I'm finished. I think I'm gonna double time with my cycling since I will stop in a while. So watching from Negros Occidental. Thank you, Rhea, for always watching. So, let's see. Hello, Pearl, Cecil C, Marlene. Ano po ba kaya doctor dito sa Mindanao favor sa low carb? Naghahanap po kasi ako. I know there is Dr. Iggy Agbayani, but I'm not sure if he's accepting patients just for low carb because he is really an orthopedic surgeon. And also we have Dr. Catherine Ascal. She is actually a functional medicine. So it's really her practice. And she also does low carb in general and also fasting. I think she is also into natural medicine. So you can look at her, okay? She's very beautiful, okay? What else? We are almost ending. So I think Caesar Rogen, I think I already answered this. Okay. So thank you so much, guys, for being with me tonight. Konbanwa is good evening. Konbanwa. So Banwa is actually here is city, right? So Konbanwa. Konbanwa, good evening. Is that it, Flo? Thank you, Cecil, Aina Lamel, Nisa Niram from Hong Kong. Dami natin from Hong Kong. Jan Santos, Dulduko, Lara Jo. So we have participants from Jensen actually. So meron tayong nutritionist dyan who's catering, who's providing nutritious and even low carb foods if you want to order. Okay. So Manilyn Lewis, Listerine, because it has sorbitol content. Yeah, we actually made a study on that way back in med school. Aside from fresh breath, it doesn't actually do anything when it comes to the bacteria that's causing tooth decay. But what you can do with your tooth decay is just lessen your sugar content. Okay, I have to stop now. Thank you so much. Until this Friday, we can do another live episode. Hopefully, I'm still be cycling if ever nothing happens, and I would still continue. I hope I will continue. Thank you. Have a happy week ahead. Be more productive, and for all of our LCF Masterclass enrollees, I'm gonna see you on another very, very productive, very fully loaded episode or lesson on this coming April 17 in our LCF Masterclass Day 2. Our topic is low carb nutrition and all about nutrition so that you will be on your way to health. This is your Diet Doctora. Always remember to fast as long as you can if you still have fats to lose. And if you do eat, stay low carb so that you will all stay safe. Maraming salamat po. Bye-bye! Thank you!